waiting for the clap.
Hello, gamers from around the world. This is Foxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, and I would like to welcome the waiting, wandering Dutch. He's been waiting for the clap. Yeah.
That was perfect time in that mind.
Oh, good lord. We are off.
For perspective, just before he did the clap, he was like, "All right." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just waiting for the clap." Like seconds later. I was like, "There we go."
So we are off for a good start here. So welcome everybody. It's gonna be a fun one. So today, we have a lot to talk about. It started out as a slow news week, Independence Day in the US slowed down the news, but when I was putting together the topics for today, I was like, man, there's actually quite some interesting stuff to talk about. So it's gonna be a fun one, but let me first welcome this awesome community. The chat is already filling up with a lot of familiar names, so welcome to you guys, but also welcome to everyone who listens after the fact, either here on YouTube or on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, wherever you are listening. Welcome. We're gonna have an awesome show. And Dutch, welcome to you. How you doing today, man?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm a bit tired, but I'm good. I'm looking forward to the weekend to rest and chill out and just play some games. And
nice.
I don't feel like I've played anything this week. In fact, I know I haven't. I think I played at the beginning of the week. I might have played a bit of Diablo, but I haven't literally had a chance to play any games this week. So
okay,
it's been good. Not been good.
So it sounds like you need some gaming, man.
Yeah,
you're feeling definitely the withdrawal and
yeah, one of them weeks. But we're almost at the end of it. It's Friday tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to the weekend.
Absolutely. Yeah, great, good stuff. We're gonna have a fun show here today, and
yes.
Dutch, we already before the show even started got in a great super chat from our good friend Drawn TJ, who sends in $2. He says, "Hi Boxy, hey Dutch, everyone please hit the like button." Guys, that would be absolutely awesome. If you could do us a favor, just hit the little thumbs up. If you do enjoy the show, this really helps these little shows out. So if you could do us that favor, that would be absolutely awesome. So Dutch, you already mentioned you haven't been playing much, but surely you played some games over the last weekend. So what have you been playing, man?
Literally just Diablo.
Just like me, man. Just like me. Let me put on some gameplay I recorded on our Sunday session when we played we took on the high tier nightmare dungeons together, and we were annihilated. So people can watch us die a lot here in this footage.
Nice.
It was good fun. So, Diablo, man. How are you doing with Diablo, man?
I am level. I'd like to say level 61 now.
61.
Level 61.
Nice.
I'm doing okay. Not terrible. Not bad.
How are you liking the new build? I told you about the build, the skill build I fancy, and you copied it. So how did you feel about it, or did you keep it?
I have kept it at the moment. I haven't been back to it as yet. I don't know whether or not I'll keep it because I still miss the arc light, the chain lightning. I just miss that. I don't know. I'm gonna have a play around. I'm gonna see. I might go fire build and try that out as well.
I tried that. Didn't like the fire build with the sorcerer. Tried a solely lighting build. Didn't like that either. and now this mix of between lighting and ice, it's. I mean, the thing is, you really need the right aspects for this build to shine. Like, there are so many aspects you can imprint on your gear that will like give you extra damage for freezing enemies, for chilling enemies, for stunning enemies, and that's basically the whole idea. You constantly chill, stun, and freeze enemies, and if you have like these damage boosters from all the aspects, it feels like I'm playing now. I'm level 59. And I can easily beat Nightmare 12 or 13 dungeons solo, like in 10 minutes or so. And I feel that is quite OP because I've been seeing people struggling at the 60 level mark with Nightmare dungeons of tier 8 or so. So yeah, man, I'm still super happy with that build. But I tried to get to World Tier 4 solo, you know,
I told you that dungeon.
The
that dungeon. Was it the boss?
It was the boss. I actually was surprised I even got to the boss because the dungeon itself is also quite strong.
Yeah.
But
we because I played it and we've got like 2 lots of gameplay going on here, so I've got gameplay going on there, and we did that dungeon and we got our arse absolutely kicked several times to the point where we had maybe 4 lives left between us. And there was just these enemies that just were one-shotting every time. It was like, what is going on? This is like a group of like all 60 plus characters, so we weren't like low level by any stretch, but just getting annihilated.
Yeah, it is.
And then the boss was just insane.
It is the boss, dude. I was like, man, I feel so confident about my build, and even though the dungeon is recommended for level 70 plus, and I was like 57 or 58 when I tried it solo. I went in there like cocky, you know. Okay, I can beat this. I can, but Jesus, no chance. So I'm gonna grind a little more. You know what? I found out, I don't know, maybe that's not a secret, but it was new to me. Like in the Paragon system, you know, you can add these additional boards and you can choose in between 12 different boards that you can add every time you move on to the next board, and you can rotate them. I did not know that. And this is really a game changer because this way you can choose your favorite board, place it, rotate it in the direction you want, and then you can get the skills you actually want really quick. It's like super awesome. Like a fantastic boost. So yeah, man, Diablo, I'm so addicted. Been traveling this week multiple times for work, so played it on my Ally. Actually, I was surprised. Of course, yeah, because it's like, okay, you have to be online for Diablo, of course, and so I had to do what's that in English? A hotspot, you know, from my phone. To connect to the internet. I was like, okay, the lag is gonna kill me, but actually, it was like super awesome, fantastic experience. So, yeah.
I was got a suggestion for you as well for future gameplay recordings. Do you know you can put your HUD directly in the center?
I know. I know people will probably laugh at me because like every Diablo had the HUD in the center, and they were and it is like actually the way to play. But in the beta, you were not able to change it, so I did change it to the middle first thing when the full game came out, and I didn't like it. I prefer it on the left side, man. I got used to it. I like it. So
yeah, I've just put mine in the center. It's definitely much more aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, if you feel so. If you feel so.
Forward. Yeah, I've literally just changed it, but it's much nicer, and
yeah.
For streaming as well, it's a little bit better because
maybe I should try it again.
Camera's left or right.
Yeah.
And with yourself, if you have a look at the way we've got this 2-person layout, you would have your thing directly in the center.
Mm-hmm.
and then people could see everything that's going on.
They could see. That is true. That is very true. Now they can't see shit here. Huh.
Yeah. So,
I might do
benefit.
it. I might do it again and give it a try. I will give it at least a try. Again. Yeah. So, let me shout out Tronty J, who sends in a super generous $20 super chat and says, Xbox after the ABK deal is done. Go get IO Interactive and Asobo and Certain Affinity and Crystal Dynamics and Eidos and more small studios next year. Get Sega, then in 25. Go get Warner Brothers, also get Crytek and CD Projekt Red. Yeah, TJ, you're on a acquisition spree here. We will definitely going to be talking about that a little later, more in depth. But IO Interactive, man, they founded a new studio today. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have in Brighton in the UK.
Yeah, and exactly in the UK they founded this new studio. What's it called? Where is it? I have it in my notes. In Brighton, New Brighton Studio.
Yeah,
and they're gonna work on James Bond, the fantasy project, and Hitman. And I feel like Xbox, IO would make sense for them. Like when you look at what they have technology-wise, the way how they put out their games, how they restructured Hitman, I think. And now they obviously have a strong collaboration with Xbox, with Project Fantasy, which previously apparently was called Project Dragon. I feel like that would definitely make sense. What do you think?
Yeah. I think they've mentioned it anyway with was it not the James Bond title?
Yes. What do you mean with the James Bond title?
I'm sure isn't that a project that we're working on with Microsoft?
No, it's what was the Project Fantasy that they were working on with Microsoft.
Was it? Was it not? I'm sure it was James Bond,
No,
as well.
I don't think so. I could be wrong here, but it was like leaked by Jez Corden that they work on a project together called Project Dragon. And when they revealed it, it's not really a reveal. They like posted one concept art and it was called Project Fantasy, but that's the title apparently they're working on. I don't know about the James Bond thing. I think the James Bond thing was not announced for any platform, or is not announced for any platform. Not sure. Maybe someone in the chat knows. Let us know. Let us know.
That one was rumored for a while, and that one was rumored as a thing that they were doing with Xbox. Never mind this one.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But no, it's interesting. I think what the interesting thing that come from that is the CEO of IO Interactive as well, who's kind of saying that like it's kind of free for any of our guys from any of the offices to work on these projects. It's not a case of if you're at this office you work on this project, or if you're at this office you work at this project. I don't know how that would work in terms of collaboration and things like that. If you've got like your dev team for each game split up between multiple offices, as opposed to just like, okay, this office, this studio is working on this game, and this studio is working on this game. Should make a little bit more sense on that front.
I don't know. I know what you mean. Like being in the same office absolutely makes sense for a lot of things. But
it's mainly for time zones.
Yes.
If you ever think of when you're clocking off in the UK, it's 5 o'clock. When you're starting in America, it's.
I have the problem at work that I have like projects with partners in China and in the US. So basically, I have meetings very, very early in the morning and very, very late in the day because for some reason, I don't know. I don't want to offend our American viewers, but I can never schedule meetings before their local time, 10 a.m. It's like, dude, who starts working at 10 a.m.? Like,
yeah, we're always in the office at like minimum like 8:30, maybe 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Eight latest.
Yeah.
But hey, yeah. No, but what I was getting at with IO, you know, the thing also is you could really have a studio that focuses on one certain thing, you know, have like the tech guys for the engine or so in one studio.
Yeah.
Or like the audio guys or the animation guys. And of course, then they work on multiple projects, but they have like a certain skill set in one particular place. It really depends on how they are structuring themselves. But hey, that's the thing that actually got me excited. They sound like they are really putting themselves out to become like this massive AAA developer. Like, obviously, Hitman, I don't know if you would say Hitman is AAA, but it definitely wanted to be in that ballpark. But now with all these other projects, yeah. Man, they definitely want to be something. So
Yep.
yeah. And yeah, TJ, Tron TJ also follows up with a $5 super chat. He said, "We should play Diablo sometimes, guys. I'm level 52, world tier 3. Man, we would be happy to game up. I
Foxy,
think.
why do you have a thing full of a thing full of caches that you haven't opened?
What are you talking about here?
On the stream, I just noticed that your character had a chest full of caches that you haven't
Oh
opened.
no, that was like the herb thing or something like a herb cache.
Do you just collect them and not open them?
The herb caches, you can't open the herb caches. You can stash them in your chest and then use them at the potion lady.
What? No, you can just open them and then you collect the herbs.
No, when you collect too many herbs, you fill up one of these caches of herbs, and then you can store them in your chest.
I've never collected too many. How do you collect too many herbs?
I don't know. I just collect them. You know, I like my herbs. I like them fresh. I like them, collected. It's yeah.
I noticed that. I was like, why have you got so many caches? Why don't you just open them?
No, I have like I have my chest. I have like 3 boards full with herbs and materials, and you can store that shit there, dude. Yeah, that's how it works. So TJ, yeah, hit us up. I'll hit you up. Dutch and I over the weekend we're definitely gonna be playing. Probably Sunday. Yeah. Absolutely. We need a full party. We need to go for that World Tier 4 run again, man. I want to get to World Tier 4. TJ, we're gonna nail that. What class are you playing? Everyone in the chat, please let us know what class are you guys playing if you're playing Diablo. So, and then he follows up with another $5 super chat, man. Thank you so much. He says, it's 11:24 right now, and I start work at 6 a.m. It's going to be a 103 Fahrenheit today. I have no idea what that is how much is that in degrees Celsius? 103 Fahrenheit.
30 something.
That's like 39 degrees. Jesus, dude. That's hot. Dude.
Dustin, I don't want to have to correct you, but the H in herb is not silent. It's only silent for Americans.
and with my beautiful German English, I definitely. So TJ follows up with $2 and says, "I'm a necromancer." We need that's good. We need damage dealers. I mean, we are two tanky sorcerers, but
very tanky sorcerers. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Man, I could talk the entire podcast about
It's
Diablo.
changed from the Age podcast to the Diablo podcast, and soon to be the Starfield podcast.
Yes, and I can't wait. Still rooting, fingers crossed, to get a review code. But I don't know about that.
Yep.
I've never gotten a review code from Xbox for anything. So they're always right.
I've gotten Xbox review codes, but not from Xbox.
Yeah, that's true. I got H4 the review code from that. What's that website where you have to register?
Was it Keymailer?
Keymailer, thank you. And I registered, and they said, yeah, you will get a key. And I got the key like the day after the review embargo dropped. So
nice.
yeah, but that was actually the only Xbox game I've ever gotten a review code. So and like literally one day later, it came to Game Pass. So there was really no real benefit, but. It was still worth it because hey, 700 hours in H4 and loved every second. But Diablo totally consumed me. So you're right. We are now the Diablo podcast here, man. Definitely. And soon there will be season 1. I can't wait to see what they will bring. Actually, today is the developer stream. I think it's like an hour into our podcast. So when suddenly everyone drops out of this show, we know why. We know exactly.
I think we'll get to see because they teased a little bit of it on Twitter. They were mentioning like the corruption takes over.
Yeah,
and
I've seen that.
The whole map. So it looks like in season 1, there's obviously going to be a big world event that's happening. The entirety of season 1, where kind of everything goes to shit, which I'm all for because
absolutely.
I think the end game does. I think the end game does need a little work. I mean, there's plenty of dungeons and there's plenty of things to find and stuff like that, and that's okay. But I think it's very much just standard grind and trying to refine your build, and that's kind of just the end game at the minute. But there isn't actually much else to do past grinding to get to World Tier 4, and then beyond World Tier 4, grind for Uber Lilith.
I can't wait for Uber Lilith.
Yeah, apparently it is an absolute nightmare. Apparently it is really bad.
Okay.
I mean, in a good way, it's very difficult, but also in a bad way.
Because you really have to optimize your build then. Yeah, what I'm really missing, I love that in Diablo 3 in the end game, but they added that like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years after the game came out. So to the end game, it was like, what were they called? Like, matching armor sets. So
yes,
like, I don't know, the armor set of Doom or something, and then if you have the helmet of Doom and the gloves of Doom and the, I don't know,
so it'd give you a buff if you had the whole thing.
Exactly, if you had the whole set. That was like something really cool because they had like a set for more or less every skill build, and that was actually a real fun thing. So I hope they bring that back. But yeah, man, let's move on from Diablo.
There's a couple of little things
Sure.
from Diablo I do want to see added though.
Please.
World bosses, I think they need more, and they need them more frequent.
Yes, facts. I hate it, man. I only fought one yet because like literally every time they spawn, it is like, okay, 10 minutes before I have to take the kids to bed, or like during dinner time, or during work day. But it's like,
yeah, or super late, like 3 o'clock.
Or super late, 3 a.m. or something, yeah. I agree there.
World bosses to do one a day, and that's like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the evening. If we manage to catch it. If we don't, the next one's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, really? Really? They need to do different ones because, like, we've already got to the point where we've, and you haven't tried them all, but I've played against all 3 of the world bosses.
Okay.
And I've played against all 3 of the world bosses multiple times now. And it doesn't give any benefit. They're not too easy, but the loot you get from them is no different to what you'd get from a Nightmare Dungeon.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, do I do a world boss? Do I wait around for one of those? Or do I just go to a Nightmare Dungeon and get the same kind of loot? So it's better doing that. Secondly, why did they insist on making every outfit for the sorcerer a woman's outfit?
That's a good question. You've been asking me that while we were playing.
Yeah.
And you're right. Yeah.
Why? What
I don't
happened to
know.
wizard and like sorcerers are both. So like at least if you've got an armor set, make it so if you're a male, that armor set is more built to masculine, and if it's female, then more built to feminine. But every outfit's silky, like nice little silk arm straps and things like that. And I'm like, you've got these cool shoulder pads, like giant, like spiky shoulder pads and things, and you've got these little silk numbers going down your arms. Like, really? Come on. Yeah, I mean, meant to be this kind of badass, mean sorcerer who's like blowing things up and that,
Yeah.
like all.
I do agree there.
soft,
I do.
flowery.
I actually stopped using the transmog system because I'm still swapping out too many outfits, and I always want to see like, okay, what does my new helmet look like? What does my new, I don't know,
Yeah.
shoes look like? So,
So I've already
but
managed to get a few combined sets, so I can build an entire set of a few cool things like the Warlord set and the Exceptional set, which is good. But a lot of them are same. A lot of them look very similar to each other,
yeah,
where you cannot tell the difference. Even when I've transmogged them, like I've got 3 helmets that look identical on transmog, and I go between them and they don't look any different. I'm like, what is the difference here? Like, what am I missing? There's no difference.
yeah.
But yeah, there's a few little nitpicks that I want them to change, specifically for the end game. World bosses they need to add more and different types of world bosses. Going in difficulty, even if you do like, I don't know, like world bosses that kind of are range in difficulty. So at certain points of the day, you've got
The nightmare
kind of,
world boss, you know.
yeah, like
Yeah.
exactly a nightmare one where you've got 30 minutes to get rid of it, and it's like really difficult, and it kind of wipes like the dragon was. I keep forgetting the name of him. The first time we fought that,
Shiva also, or something like
Ashava, that's the one. Yeah,
Ashava. Yeah.
Ashava. The first time we fought that, it was one hit kill. He was just swipe of the wing, and you were dead.
Yeah.
And
But
now
you were like level 20 or so when you fought that guy.
yeah, but even the first time I fought him in post game, it was like knock, and then it was like whoa, and dragging it down. And your health would just disappear. But now it's just a case of okay, get close and right in his face, and he can't do anything. He can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's like it's just a case of like just keep hitting the button until he's eventually gone. So they need to work on something there. But yeah, I agree. Something like a nightmare world boss, as well as having standard ones, but also change up the design, create a new world boss. Hopefully they do something like that for whatever the seasons are, and maybe introduce a new world boss for the seasons. With it being the way they've done it now, with it being this open world, kind of collaborative online thing, they need to implement more things like that more often. Create new world bosses, create new events.
New events, yeah. I have no doubt that something is coming. So maybe the stream later will reveal what we can expect there on that end, man.
Yeah.
So now we're moving on from Diablo. So a lot of things happened. I want to start with some remake rumors. Yeah, Colin Moriarty. Not a fan of him. Not even close. But he knows people in the industry, and he claimed that Red Dead Redemption is going to get a remaster, and he says that this could be very imminent to be announced next month, as soon as next month. So, man, what do you think? A Red Dead Redemption remake? Would you be up for that?
I don't think it'll be a remake. I think it'll be a remaster, and I don't think we need one.
Because we can play it upscale to 4K and at 60 FPS on Xbox anyway, or
yeah, Yeah, it's already had the boost. It had the HDR, the
the
4K
HDR
up-res.
boost, yeah.
It looks fantastic. It doesn't need to change. It doesn't. What Rockstar really need to do is actually just make another Red Dead and make it good. Like Red Dead 2 was brilliant, and then they just dropped it like it didn't exist.
It was so
And
weird.
because they couldn't monetize the online, they just went goodbye.
Yeah.
And just cut it off. Instead of like the best way to monetize the online, of course, naturally would have been different outfits. Different outfits, different horses, carts.
Yeah.
Introduce kind of different things like that, weapon skins and stuff like that, like you would for that, like mad wood grained engraven stuff, and you just do what you would do in online instead of having this like horse, you had different colored horses and things like that, or skeleton horses or demon horses. Like
I was about to say that in Red Dead Redemption they had that Nightmare DLC.
Yeah.
They never did something like that, and I also was always wondering why they never
could have quite easily done like as they've done with GTA Online, and I know people hate monetization, but this is one of the things that they do to keep a game running, specifically GTA Online and Red Dead Online, which is obviously cancelled now, but is introduce things like the missions and things like that, and you've got heists. You've got heists in GTA Online.
Yeah, and they never brought that over to Red Dead Redemption properly.
Exactly, we're talking about cowboys. Like it's a perfect heist thing. Cowboys did heists all the time. Train
you walk into
the
saloon, the city, and then you rob the bank, and you shoot yourself a shootout with the sheriffs, and it was like be perfect, man. It would be perfect.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that.
Missed opportunity, and again, I think it's in a section now where some developers, and Rockstar might be one of them here, are capitalizing on making money out of games they've already got there, doing quick remasters or quick remakes of some of them, and then just porting them out to get a little bit of cash instead of actually working on something substantial. I want to see that trend end personally. Like, unless your game is like 20 years old or
yeah, like Final Fantasy VII. I felt like that is okay. That is real good time for a remake, and they could they could substantially change the game. I mean, but then on the other hand, like Resident Evil 4 this year, brilliant. I loved it, man.
But again, if you have a look at Resident Evil 4's age, we're still talking 15 years, I'm sure about it.
Yeah, but what is Red Dead 1? I want to say 13 years or so at least. Maybe even more. So, see, Red Dead 1 is one of my all-time favorite games. I told you that before. I have only like 6 games that I consider a 10 out of 10, and Red Dead 1 is one of them.
2005 with Resident Evil 4.
2000. Yeah, okay. So
wow.
That's like Jesus, that's 18 years.
I think the thing is though is we've got I don't think PlayStation have, but we have the HDR, the 4K and everything out on Xbox because of the previous update we got. But PlayStation didn't.
So Red Dead 1, I would love to have a proper remake. If they redo Red Dead 1 in the engine, in their latest engine, and really make it.
Red Dead 1 was released after Resi 4?
Yes. Absolutely.
2010. What?
And I told you, 13 years. Not too bad, man. Not too bad. So, yeah, does it really need one? No. But if it's done well, I would definitely take it because I loved the first one. I thought 2 was absolutely fantastic. But it
depends on who's doing the thing, though. If it's the same people who did the GTA trilogy reboot remaster,
yeah, no, God, no, no. Yeah, that's so true.
People, then nope.
Yeah, no, we don't need that. We don't need that.
No, thank you.
Yeah. But if it's done right, if it is done right, if they really port it over to a newer version of the
depends
engine,
on the price as well, though. Depends if it's just
I
a
would pay
remaster.
full
They cannot
price.
sell that.
Now, not just for if it's just badly done, just upres at 60, then no. But if they would redo it properly in a proper engine, I would absolutely buy it. I loved Red Dead 1. It was like there were so many awesome moments in that game. The first time you arrived in Mexico, that was brilliant. And honestly, I did not see the ending coming to like the very end. And even in my second playthrough, I was still shocked the way how it ended. And that was probably the one thing that why I didn't consider Red Dead 2 a 10 out of 10, because it was a brilliant game. I thought it had its little issues with the pacing, but it was a brilliant game. But like the story was so foreseeable, and people could tell, okay, yeah, it was a prequel. You kind of knew, but you didn't know you should not have known, like what happens to Arthur. And after, I think during the second act or so, it was so obvious how this game is going to end. Still a great game, though. Still a great game. Another remake was rumored this week. Actually, over the last weekend that broke. Assassin's Creed Black Flag is reportedly getting a remake. And I was like, really, Ubisoft? Really?
No, thank you.
I mean, granted, one thing. There are not that many Ubisoft remasters or remakes. I can't, from the top of my head, I cannot think about one game where they did it. Usually, Ubisoft is actually great in supporting their games. All their games got like the next gen patch for free. But do we really need a Black Flag remake or a remaster?
Nope.
Yeah, there's nothing to
They've
add
got
to
enough.
this.
They have more than enough Assassin's Creed games in the works.
More than enough.
Time
Exactly. Focus on those. You have Mirage coming, which catches more like the old school Assassin's Creed.
They've got Mirage, Jade, Project Red, Project
Hexen. Yeah.
Multiple others. They've got the VR game. They've got about 8 projects in the work. Do not do another remaster on top of that. Just
don't.
Just keep going.
I agree.
Just keep going, please.
As cool as Black Flag was, but we don't need it. We don't need it. John TJ sends in another $5 super chat. Thank you so much, man. And he says, I want a new Midnight Club and a Command and Conquer. Yeah, man, especially
and Command and Conquer.
Especially with Command and Conquer, I'm absolutely with TJ.
Yeah,
man, it's like if you think back to 20 years ago or so, like
what was your favorite Command and Conquer? Was it Red Alert?
Red Alert.
Yeah, I thought so.
I played the heck out of this game, and it was like it went downhill ever since.
Yeah,
and then they had the like, I don't know what it was called, the one that was like free to play kind of thing. It was and we need a proper Command and Conquer with like proper story mode. We want those live action scenes and everything. I want that back.
Yeah. Who could forget those?
With Tanya, man. God, I love Tanya. Don't tell my wife, but jeez. So, what else happened this week in gaming? Banjo Kazooie, man.
Yes.
Where do you stand with?
I've got to disagree with the developer.
Yeah, but let me first read what the developer had to say, because if for some reason someone didn't catch that news, the Bungie devs this week came out and said that they are unsure if there's an audience for a new Banjo game. But the original character design would definitely call for a Nintendo remaster. So
a Nintendo remaster? Why Nintendo?
I have no idea. That's what he said.
I
have no.
Okay, I know it was on Nintendo, but it was primarily played on Xbox.
Well, I mean, it was super successful, the first one on the Nintendo 64.
Yeah,
That's where I played Banjo for the first time,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I
Everyone
didn't play
started
too
there.
much of Banjo 2E and 3E.
Banjo Kazooie, Kazooie, Nuts
So
and Bolts.
yeah, it's
There's a lot of
like,
them.
yeah. So he
But
said,
I've
"Well,
been playing it
what do
for a
you
while. I've
think?
been
Is there an audience in this day and
Yes,
age
of
for a
course,
Banjo
of course.
game?"
Of course there is. Of course there is. Of course there is. This is another thing that Microsoft have been trying to get to grips with is they need something to fit every slot in their portfolio.
Yeah.
If you have a look at the slots that they've got missing in the portfolio, it is still absolutely the family segment. They don't have anything that they're creating at the moment that is family orientated outside of Minecraft.
Yeah.
So the only IP they've got in there that's family orientated is Minecraft. They got Lucky's Tale in there, which was a cool little thing. They managed to get Lucky's Tale into Game Pass.
I
Super
mean,
Lucky's Tale.
it was
But then
a lovely character, but honestly,
it wasn't the
it
same level.
it was really not the same. Like
No,
the
no.
controls somehow felt just like too
But
heavy.
it was cool. It was cool. But if you have a think of other successful titles of
Yeah.
similar ilk on the opposing platform, i.e., Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank is by far. I mean, yes, it doesn't do mega numbers, but not every game has to sell 20 million. Like, even if it does 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, whatever, it's still a successful game. You don't have to plow 200 million pounds into every game. You could do it for 50 million and you'd have your money back. You'd be fine. Especially if you're putting it into Game Pass and people are playing it that way.
Yeah.
But it's about having options, and absolutely there is an audience for games like that. I would definitely play if you brought out a brand new Banjo Kazooie
Mm-hmm.
that was in the same fidelity and funky art style that you had of Ratchet and Clank. That
Yes.
would be absolutely insane. I would love that. I would
Yes.
love it. And there's so many games I'd love to see come back that are in that ilk. If you have a think of some of the more successful early games that were on PlayStation, you're talking about Medieval, you're talking about Spyro, you're talking
Yeah.
about Crash Bandicoot. Like, of course, there's definitely an audience, there always will be. It doesn't mean it's going to be a substantial audience. I think what every developer wants these days, after seeing the likes of The Last of Us and God of War and things like that, is they're expecting every game to hit like 20, 30 million units and sell that many. It's like, you don't have to be to mean it has an audience. Even if you're doing 1 million, 2 million, that is a substantial amount of people that still want that game. That's a lot of people still.
Agree.
So it doesn't need to be like a mega seller to be classed as a
Yeah.
substantial audience or a big enough audience. And these games are never going to always get that amount anyway, because again, it's niche.
Yes.
Like, we never, even if we have a look at like the Elder, not the Elder Scrolls, the Bloodborne and the Dark Souls series and things
Yes.
like that, like up until Elden Ring, that didn't do mega numbers. Like, it sold well, but it wasn't mega.
Wasn't Dark Souls also at the 6 or 7 million mark? I
Yeah.
think so.
So it was
Yeah.
like, it was big, but it wasn't like mega
Yeah.
until Elden Ring, and then Elden Ring did 20 million plus.
Yes.
But that was
Yeah.
completely
I
like, it
agree.
took everybody by surprise.
And I mean,
again, you don't
especially
know.
with Game Pass. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how you really you remove that entry barrier for your audience. So I think, like, obviously it makes sense. Like you said, kids friendly IPs, you kind of need something like that if you want to, like, really lure the family in, you know, get the kids hooked. And if you grow up with a certain system, you will automatically attach yourself with nostalgia to that system. Yeah, it's like, I grew up. We played like mostly Nintendo. We had a Sega, but in our household. But since nobody
even-
at school had Sega, we always played
Yeah.
Nintendo. And to this day, like, seriously, if I wouldn't have the nostalgia for it, I probably would not play the new Mario or Zelda. But since I have that nostalgia, I'm absolutely loving it. It's and that's the thing. If you wanna, these kind of IPs are an investment in your future. And besides that, us grown adults, we do enjoy good platformers as well. Have you seen the Psychonauts 2 developer came out, and after the discourse on Twitter started, like, yeah, they so need Banjo because Xbox does not have a platformer. And then he was like, okay, what did I work on for the last 5 years? And what are the Psychonauts devs?
And that was one of my favorite games. It was absolutely one of my. It was,
but it was not a kids game. It was absolutely not a kids game.
Nope.
So,
nope. But as a platformer, it is absolutely one of my most favorite games that I've played for a very long time.
It was my game of the year that year. I loved it.
Yeah.
Psychonauts 2 was absolutely awesome.
Then he's got to think as well, and it's yourself. And I've seen awesome photos of your kids just sitting on the couch playing games and things like that, and Erwin does the same with his kids, and I know lots of friends as well that ask all the time, says, what kind of games on the Xbox can the little one play? And you've got to think sometimes it's like you're at work, the kid wants to play on the Xbox, the console, and things like that. So it's good to be able to go through a catalog and have games like your Spyros and your Banjos and things like that. Games that are good for all ages for kids to jump on and have fun and not be too serious and it's silly.
And honestly, it is hard. My kids are 7 and 5 now. Yeah, my boys, and I'm always they love to play Mario Kart, of course. But you want to introduce them, of course, to other IPs. So I wanted to get him hooked on Zelda, but I realized like he's only in my oldest son is only in first class, the other one in kindergarten, so they can't. He starts slowly to be able to read. But you need to read too much to play Zelda. So that's probably something, in a year or two when you can really actually read it and not read like, you know what I mean. So, and then it becomes really hard because either, of course, games are not for kids, or even some of the more or less kid-friendly games have sometimes mechanics that make it really hard for a 5 or 6 year old to actually play them. Like Mario, honestly, my kids Super Mario Brothers. Jesus, that is like for them with at the age of 5 and 6 or so. It is really, really hard. They were able to get through the first levels, 2 3 levels, and then it's like, Daddy, can you help me? Daddy, can you help me? It's
like a Dark Souls for kids, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. Good kid-friendly game, not too hard, like lovable characters, and Banjo would absolutely be that. So I definitely see a market there. But let me catch up on the super chats, man. Kirby Louise sends in $5. So first of all, thank you so much for the support. And he said, test the waters with something like Render 96 for Banjo N64, ray tracing plus SGI models. Man, it's funny you would say that. I was like, this during my lunch break today, I was Googling like what are proper emulators that I can run on my ROG Ally. I want to test the waters there. But then I unfortunately got interrupted with a call from my boss. So, but I will definitely look into that. And Render 96, I would need to do that on my actual PC build. That's actually a really cool, good idea. Earlier this week, I've seen a video from Chatforce Gemini running there. It looked like insanely good, man. Insanely good. And then we have Pyromad sending a £5 super chat. Thank you, man, so much. He says, after the ABK acquisition, I really hope Beanox make a Xbox kart racer akin to CTR with characters across the world of Xbox. Agree or disagree?
Yeah,
I'll let you go first.
Either a kart racer or a Smash Bros-esque fighting game. Either or works fine because we've got enough characters now to be able to do that.
I agree. that I agree. That's like Xbox has, if you look even without ABK, because ABK has great history, they have great IP, but since all their studios are only working on Call of Duty, not much will change soon. Yeah, in terms of like portfolio, even if the acquisition gets approved. But even with what we have today in the Xbox roster, like so many different characters across the Bethesda characters. Yeah, you have like, of course, the Doom guy. You have like the Elder Scrolls Fallout guys, and so on. You have like so many noticeable characters. Yeah, and with Senua, and of course the Chief, and Gears, and even Raz from Psychonauts, and all these lovable characters. What's the guy called from Hi-Fi Rush? And play.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I don't know why I've forgotten his name, because I thought he was class.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Anyway, you know what I mean.
Then it's also including the likes of, if you have a think at some of the like things like Battletoads going in there,
Yeah.
and then and things like that. Like you've got hundreds of characters to choose from, like so many.
Absolutely, and you could definitely do something with it. Like you said, either Smash Bros. Or since I'm also a fan of Mario Kart, man, I would love a fun kart racer with all those characters. Yeah. I would so love it. You could even make it like a little bit, I don't know, more serious, you know, so like more other weapons than the shells, you know. Like you could have like really Doom guy on his car, like this gigantic laser cannon or whatever, and stuff like that. That would be so cool, man. And
you could do, if it was like Gears, you could throw wretches at people at the back instead of like...
Yes. The banana. See, Xbox should hire us, man. Apparently we are getting paid anyway, but
yeah, I'm still waiting for the check to come through. It's a bit delayed.
If we meet Aaron at Gamescom, dude, we have to have a serious talk with him, because I've been missing like paychecks for years now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Drinks on Aaron.
Drinks on Aaron. Exactly. Yeah. Jonas the Dead sends in $5. Thank you so much, man. Super appreciated. He says, after ABK, people say Square. I say Sega. They are doing movies. There are hits that can really help Xbox for shows, movies. Solid thinking. See, like a year ago, I would have completely disagreed. I would have said like, nah, Microsoft does not really want to get into like movies and stuff. But there is a trend in the video game industry to like have these crossovers. So many video games get now movie or TV adaptations, like Halo, like Last of Us, like The Witcher, like Fallout, like so many games, Bioshock, and so on. We're even getting a Gears movie now. So, and Sega has been doing them as well. Obviously, there are Sonic movies. So, yeah, with Sega, I feel like that the thing about Sega really is they are a realistic candidate. Pardon me. Simply for the matter of fact that Xbox really, really, really wants to get a proper foothold in the Asian market. Japan, South Korea, and yeah, so it is like highly likely. Yeah. What do you think, Dutch?
Yeah, I would agree. And I think Sega have got kind of a little bit of expertise on all fronts. I think they've got expertise in cloud, they've got expertise in the technologies and engines and things like that. So they've got a lot of positives to bring, and of course they've got a mega mascot in Sonic, so be a huge benefit there. having Sonic associated with Xbox, and it would come full circle after helping them create the Dreamcast.
Mm-hmm. Agree?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, definitely would make sense. So, speaking of Korea and everything, Sony is apparently like looking into corporations with or looking to partner with Korean studios, especially Pearl Abyss for Crimson Desert. The South Korean website MTN reports that Sony apparently is looking to partner with those developers. They have their sources through the local PlayStation division, and they wanna, partner up with Pearl Abyss, man. Crimson Desert is apparently the game. So, what do you think? Sony's gonna snatch this one up because Crimson Desert looks actually really good.
To be fair, it could look good, but I'm not really bothered. There's a lot of. I think Sony need to really wrap their head around what avenue they actually want to go down, because I don't think they know what direction they're going in right now. I don't. I think that right now they're just clamoring for any kind of exclusivity to make up for the fact that they literally have nothing.
Nothing. That is the thing. Sony, we talked about this before, but it really feels like Sony is running dry. They know that their AAA games, they already used to take a long time, like Death Stranding, like Last of Us Part 2, yeah, Ghost of Tsushima took years, 5, 6+ years. And in this day and age, games even take longer. So I wouldn't be surprised if Naughty Dog simply needs like 7, 8 years for their next big thing. You know, wouldn't be too surprised. And I feel like Sony is realizing that with that their strategy was like, that's obviously now good old Chimbo's new PlayStation strategy, not to focus just on the games that made Sony so big, you know, the big AAA single player experiences, but he's really trying to get into the games as a service thing, and we've seen it. The showcase revealed, okay, the only thing after Spider-Man that you can expect from Sony in 2024, at least what we know right now, is like a few games as a service title that did not even remotely pique interest from anyone. So yeah, they have to bridge the gap with exclusivity deals. But the thing is with Sony, and third-party exclusive deals, I mean, both sides do them. Yeah, Stalker 2 going to be an Xbox exclusive. Both sides do them. Granted, Xbox not to the same degree like Sony does, but when Xbox do them, I actually have a benefit from that, because then it comes to Game Pass, I have zero benefits from if Sony or even Nintendo makes an exclusive deals, but Nintendo don't do them. But you know what I mean? Like who has a benefit from an exclusive third-party deal? Really, you don't have a benefit from that. If you're a PlayStation gamer, and does it influence your experience of Final Fantasy VII Remake by any stretch of the means? Does it influence your experience when you play that game if an Xbox gamer can play it? No, it doesn't. But at least when Xbox do them, yeah, Xbox gamers have the benefit of like getting them day and date and don't have to pay like $70 for it. So yeah, in that case, I actually have an interest in those kind of deals, you know, whether they are exclusive or day one. I don't care for exclusivity. But yeah, and that's the thing with Pearl Abyss here, because actually I was looking forward to Crimson Desert. I thought the game looks fantastic, and of course I could play it then simply on my PlayStation. But yeah, it sounds like something Sony would do, and it would absolutely, like you said, it would make sense. But yeah, we shall see, man.
We shall indeed. We shall indeed.
Enough of my little rant about Sony exclusive deals. But it's really the thing. Like, again, you don't have a benefit if a game is exclusive to your platform. You just don't. Yeah, you do have a benefit from a day one Game Pass release. So if Sony would put them in PS Plus, hey man, great, cool, happy to subscribe then. By the way, last year I got the PS Plus subscription because I was able to upgrade for like, I don't know, I remember like $20 or so. You know, when they introduced it, and then Stray came out, and it was like, okay, I could either buy Stray directly or just upgrade my PS Plus subscription. So I upgraded, and then it ran for a year, and now I forgot to cancel it, and it was like, what's the English phrase for it? When you just get it another year, I had to pay another year. So I'm another year's PS Plus subscriber, but since I haven't really played much in it, I actually wanted to cancel it. So that is a little side story here. So
I only ever redo PS Plus when I'm on PlayStation. That's not often. It's not often at the minute because there's nothing much there to play.
I mean, it's. I wouldn't say there isn't much to play. Actually, it's a good service. It's a little bit more expensive than Game Pass, and obviously they don't do day and date. But the thing really is, there are simply the exact same games like in Game Pass. So when I'm browsing through that library, you know, I was like, I played that on Game Pass. Oh, I already played that, and so. But that's a me thing, you know. If you are a PlayStation only customer, you actually can get a lot of value out of the subscription. Is it as good as Game Pass? No, I don't think so. But it's still, I simply like subscription services, man. I just do. So you can definitely get your money's worth from it. It's just not as good as Game Pass. Tron TJ sends in a $10 super chat, man. Thank you so much. He says, if they get Sega, we would have Creative Assembly, the people that made Halo Wars 2 and Total War, go to EA and make a deal to make a new Command & Conquer with Creative Assembly. What do you think? I freaking loved Halo Wars 2.
Yep. I'd love it as well. To be fair, I've played Halo and Halo Wars 2, so it's they're awesome. Yeah. I'd love to get it back. So.
I would, man. And if those devs could go to EA and make a deal with the new for a new Command & Conquer game, that would be dope. That would be really cool. Again, I still don't get EA. Why they're not doing anything with Command & Conquer? It's like the RTS. There are two RTS IPs, you know. It's StarCraft and Command & Conquer. I know there are others, Age, of course, yeah, and many others. But StarCraft and Command & Conquer are like the RTS. Maybe Warcraft back in the day. And Warcraft 3 was also, you know. But yeah, I don't know why they are not doing something with it. By the way, shout out to Mr. Badbit in the chat who joins us here today. Great to see you here, Ben.
Hello, sir.
We need to. He wants to build a PC, man. So
does he now?
He does. He does want to build a gaming PC. So yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Why?
I'm joking.
He can play his beloved PlayStation games then on there, you know. It's hit me up, dude. If you need some help with building it, definitely hit me up. So what did I actually have in the list for topics here? You always bring me out of my concept, so let's briefly talk about ABK because there were some minor news this week. We had like the approval of South Africa, the latest country to join the club, to approve the deal unconditionally. But then there was also one thing revealed, that actually it wasn't really through the FTC deal, but it kind of was alongside it, because at a big festival in Brazil, Microsoft held a presentation, advertising everything and how they're gonna grow. And they forgot to take a number out of one of the slides that said that they surpassed Xbox Series X and S sales surpassed 21 million units apparently.
Yep.
So first of, I wouldn't say official, but at least we got some idea how many units have been sold. So what do you think, man? 21 million. We've heard that Sony is closing in on the 40. I think they have 38 now shipped units.
I would probably, because they put 21 million plus, I would say it's probably closer to maybe 22, 23 million at this point, which is all right for Xbox. It's okay at this part of the generation. It's higher than previous generations, so it's all they can do. It's pointless looking at a competitor that had 150, 160 million consoles and thinking that you're going to be on par with that, because you're not. They've just got a bigger foothold in terms of brand name, etc., worldwide. So you've got to start at the beginning, and then the only way to start when you're in that position is to just make sure that you're doing better than the previous generation. So yeah, that's all I can say. It's a good start for them. They just need to do a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't expect Xbox to suddenly outsell Sony on a global scale or anything. We're still around about plus minus a few millions, of course, 2-1 on a global scale. Which, I mean, we talked about it. This generation didn't go as Xbox was probably hoping for, but so far the games have been lacking. Obviously, that's gonna change with games like Starfield. Now we have Forza coming this year, next year Hellblade and Avowed. So that will definitely change things, because obviously Xbox didn't have like the big system seller just yet this gen. Yeah, I mean, we had Forza Horizon 5 and Halo 2 years ago. But other than that, the big system sellers have been missing. So I expect those numbers to change. With Starfield is going to be a massive system seller, man. It's going to be nuts. By the way, since we are on Starfield, Todd Howard actually had an interview this week and said that he was like super surprised by the support that Xbox has provided with Starfield. It has been incredible. Here's his quote: "We are focusing on what we can do in this game. I'll say that their support has been incredible on this. Phil, Matt Booty, and the team over there. Obviously, we worked with them for a long time, going back 20 years with Morrowind, but being a part of Xbox and their support, it really has allowed us to be this ambitious and take these risks, and fingers crossed we will deliver." So, Xbox supporting this game, and it's probably going to do big things. Do you think Starfield is going to be this like system seller that Xbox probably hopes it's going to be?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I think people have, I don't know why people are underestimating it, but we're talking about a game that, if you have a look at Skyrim, it shipped like record amounts on PC in absolutely no time, and it's exactly the same of what it could do for Xbox. It can ship absolute record amounts, especially the hype it's been getting. And not everybody has these super powerful PCs that can claim to run Starfield at 60 frames. I know Mr. Badbit's going to build a PC in order to play it at 60.
You
But
know, that's a weird
not
thing. I'm
many-
going to be playing it at 60 on this little bad boy here, you know.
yeah, but it's going to look like a smudge.
I'm telling you, man. I was like, of course, with some games, Cyberpunk. Let's take Cyberpunk as an example. I booted it up and then I let the settings finder that the game has implemented run to search for recommended setting, and a lot of things were set on low, low level of detail, low this, low that. When I booted it up, and it looks stunning, dude, and it looks stunning because on this small screen you can't see a lot of the little details anyway. So it looks beautiful, Cyberpunk, and I expect Starfield to look stunning, even with lower settings than obviously here on my 3080. It will look absolutely stunning on that thing at 60.
It's going to look good on your actual PC, but it's not going to look it's not going to look that good as a smudge on your Ally.
We shall see. We shall see.
We shall.
But yeah, Starfield definitely going to do big things. I do have the feeling that this will be Todd Howard's like best work piece that he's done so far. I've watched the Starfield Direct now 3 times, and it is just filled with so many awesome things. This game, and I really cannot wait. Really cannot wait. Definitely going to be a system seller though.
Yeah, it's one of them. It's absolutely going to be a system seller, but it's also, I mean, you can see the amount of people that have bought these bloody controllers, like to start off with. Then you've got to see the amount of people that I know have purchased the consolation edition. Then you've got to think the amount of people that have bought the premium add-ons, and then people that are on Game Pass that can get the base game and then just buy the premium add-on anyway. It's the same with what happened with Forza Horizon. The amount of people that bought that just to get this for a few days are doing the same thing for Starfield. And there was 10 million people playing Forza Horizon in the first week and a bit. So if you think Forza Horizon can do that with a premium add-on, and it'll have 3 to 4 million people on console immediately that are doing just premiums, then you've got the rest of them coming in a couple of days later that are just getting the regular game. The game's going to do numbers. The game is going to do serious numbers. Then you add on the rest of it. The only thing that I think was a big miss, and I still don't understand, is why they didn't make a limited edition console. Why?
I don't understand it either. Probably some
Even
supply chain.
Even a Series S?
See, Phil came out on the Xbox showcase, and I thought this was like a really weird moment to talk about console availability in stores during your games showcase. I really cannot remember that something like this has ever happened. So I think that obviously Xbox had supply issues over the last years, and it felt like over the last, I want to say like 6 months or so, it felt that Sony kind of got out of this supply chain issue, and Xbox didn't with the series, especially with the Series X, and I feel like that they have something that they really worked on it, so that the supply chains now become better and better, and I don't know if it would have helped to have like a special edition. Maybe that's the reason. I'm not sure. Just me guessing, but it feels weird. Starfield would absolutely make sense. I think I've said it before, Dutch. I feel this is going to be Xbox's biggest launch game ever. Like, literally, if you think about what other Xbox game comes close to the magnitude of a Starfield, maybe a Halo 3 launch. If you go back in the days, Halo 3 was pretty big.
Yeah.
But Halo always has been an Xbox IP, and Starfield, the makers of Skyrim, they used to be everywhere, and this is now obviously not just coming out on console. Halo 3. This is going to come out on console and PC. It's Bethesda, yeah, the makers of Skyrim, Fallout, and all these awesome Elder Scrolls games like Oblivion and Morrowind. And this is the developer has such a big track record, even through the PlayStation guys. I mean, the hardcore fans are still whining, but the real ones, they will definitely look into, can my PC run it? Can I get it on a Series S or whatever? And it's going to be the biggest launch. Yeah, Halo Infinite didn't come close. Forza Horizon 5 didn't come close. This is going to be massive for them. I have no doubt.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be ginormous. And to be fair, I've got no doubt about it anyway, because it's Todd Howard and it's Bethesda do well. As much as people are trying to troll it and saying it's not going to do well, it's going to do really well, and people are going to be playing this game for absolutely years upon years. I know I will be.
I know.
It's going to take
me. and True Iron Leg here in the chat with a $2 Canadian $2 Canadian dollar super chat says, by the way, thank you so much. When it comes out, I'm going to disappearing for a long time. Not just you, man. Not just you. I will definitely take a day off of work. See, Dutch. Yeah, I have a problem, Dutch. Like for some reason, the gaming industry does not like when I take a vacation. Like, I have 2 weeks of family vacation planned. We had 9 days in France earlier in June. And it was in the middle when we were in France, Diablo came out, and it was on Twitter sitting there. Obviously didn't have the Rock Ally just yet. Hadn't even launched yet. And was sitting there okay, I want to play Diablo, man. And now we're going for another week in... but at the very tail end of August through the first week of September. So for 7 nights, we are going to Italy. And you know, the early access. And I missed the early access, dude. We are going there on August 30th. Yeah, and literally 2 days later, Starfield comes out. My 2 most anticipated games
how it
of
is.
the year.
You'll play that game. You'll play that Gamescom. You're all right. You can try it out at Gamescom.
This time I have the Ally. I just hope that the preload is available, because we are going camping, dude. I cannot through the shitty.
No.
Yeah.
Oh
so,
no.
I'm going camping with the kids and the wife, and we are, so if they don't have a preload, I'm going to be screwed. But I will definitely have my Ally with me, and I will definitely try to play it on that day one. And I sure hope, dude, I will be furious with Xbox if they don't support Play Anywhere with Starfield.
Yeah, I think they will.
I sure hope so.
It's a huge game. Yeah, it's a huge game. I think they will. On a bonus Gamescom note, got a message from some of what we know as the twins, who are very, very familiar with the Xbox dudes. But they sent us an email for Gamescom and Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. They're having an event at Gamescom, and I've registered our party of 4 to go and see that Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty event. Yes, so we'll see if we'll find out if we get to go to that event by the 4th of August. But I've registered all 4 of us, so
that is awesome.
Fingers crossed.
Awesome stuff. That is cool, man. You have to DM me the details, man. Let's transition over to Gamescom, man.
Yeah,
because the Gamescom hype is real, at least here on this show. I know people in the US have E3, but we usually cannot go, simply too expensive, too far away. Our thing is going to be Gamescom this year. Obviously, you and I, we both booked in, what was it, January or February already, our hotel.
Yeah.
Mick is coming along with us, and we hooked Gas, man. Gas is also going to come with us. I'm a little scared, though.
Looks like Jez Corden's going as well.
Yeah,
looks like Jez is going to end up going.
Yeah.
Harris looks like he might end up going.
Yes, I've seen that tweet as well. That man, Because Xbox is joining Gamescom big
Yeah.
time. Yeah, they've announced it this week, and also you spoke about that yesterday as well. That Phil is actually coming. Phil Spencer is coming to Gamescom. They have not announced yet the Xbox Fan Fest, but usually when someone like Phil comes, there's got to be something. So I'm expecting them.
And Aaron, if you reference Aaron's tweet specifically, Aaron says that they've got more to talk about soon about what they're doing at Gamescom outside of the showroom floor thing. So they're definitely doing something. They just haven't said what else they're doing yet. But they're definitely doing something. So I would imagine they maybe a fan fest there, possibly their own mini event. Might be even a little half an hour show instead of a big hour long thing.
Like a developer direct or something.
Yeah, like a smaller contained event. But I still think there's going to be a couple of little new announcements in there as well. So yeah, I think there's going to be some cool stuff going on there. And as you mentioned, with Phil going, and Phil doesn't travel the length of the world for the sake of it.
Yeah.
He's got a lot going on. So unless he's got something to talk about and something to show off, he doesn't usually attend these things. He usually leaves that the likes of Aaron and Major Nelson and even maybe Sarah Bond. But the fact that he's attending gives us a little bit more anticipation as to what it is that they could have up their sleeve to go alongside the showroom floor.
I mean, we know that Starfield's gonna be there. Obviously, yes. Starfield is going to come out, like 10 days after Gamescom?
Yeah.
So we will be definitely playing that on the show floor. What else do you expect from Xbox at the show? Forza? I assume Forza is also going to be playable there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Forza Starfield. Maybe's was it called Towerborn?
Towerborn, yeah.
Yeah, maybe's that. Because they're doing an early access thing soon anyway, where you can go in and help them like as alpha. So you can sign up for a preview program and help them kind of grow the game. So they might have a hands-on on that so people can kind of test it out and see what it's like and give them feedback. But I think they'll maybe have a couple of more a couple of other kind of new titles. I'm anticipating potentially one or two big things that we haven't seen yet, or if we have, or we know of it, we haven't seen it in gameplay form as yet. That's kind of, I don't know what games though. I don't know what. That's the only drawback because there's still QuakeCon and things like that still coming up. And
yes. When is QuakeCon? Is that before or after Gamescom?
I think it's after.
Okay. You know, I have a feeling, Dutch. Like, Gamescom, obviously Europe-based, yeah? So, there's... And Gamescom always has been like this event more like for the fans, while E3 has been more for, like, the press. And even earlier in the days, it was actually a retailer thing, yeah, for retailers. But... The Gamescom, the entire idea of, and that's why Gamescom is so big. I mean, it's like 10 times the amount of people that E3 has. Like up to 400,000 or so is what they expect this year. Yeah, so 400,000 people being there. They are, if you follow them on Twitter, today they posted like, along the Rhine, that's the river that's runs through Cologne. They will have like, camping sites. It's like a festival, dude. Like it's that entire city is like 400,000 people. This is insane. It's like a festival for games. So it has always been like more community focused. Yeah, than E3. Granted, and that's why probably the biggest announcements were not there. It was more like it's just a little different focus. But with E3 being gone, it would absolutely make sense to use that. And then being, of course, centered here in Europe, it is like it would make sense to highlight some of these European developers. And Xbox has a big deal that we have not heard anything of since last year's E3 thing from Xbox, the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase in 2022, and that is Stalker 2. Stalker 2 is still supposed to come out this year. Yeah. The developer said we are not going to be there at the during the big showcase season. We're not going to attend there because we are hard at work to prep something else for later this year. So, dude, I'm thinking here with all the support that Europe, of course, the US as well, but European countries have been giving the Ukraine, Microsoft being behind the studio now, GSC Game World, getting supported by them. Man, this would be so big if they came out. And by the way, there's one more thing coming this year. After Starfield, after Forza, in November, in December, you will get Stalker 2. And here it is, playable for the first time, hands-on for the fans. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it, man. Because, dude, trust me, people underestimate Stalker. It is not a niche game. It is like gigantic first-person shooter, action RPG shooter, open world, branching story trees and everything. It's going to be massive. It's a looker, obviously. You guys have seen the trailers. It looks stunning. Running in Unreal 5, yeah. Epic, also being a European country. It just would make sense at Gamescom.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's just going to be fun all around. I just can't wait. I'm looking forward to just chilling out and
absolutely
getting out with all you guys for the first time and properly meeting yourself and properly meeting Mick. I've like very briefly for like 10 seconds met Mick at XO19. So obviously we're going back 4 years here. So it's that was the very brief moment. It was like hello in the queue and that was it.
Okay.
So
yeah, same
but
here.
Outside of knowing Erwin and obviously having went to Erwin's wedding and everything like that. So aside from knowing Erwin for many years, I haven't actually officially met you guys face to face so it's going to be awesome just to do that. So it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a great time.
Oh, it's going to be such a fun time, yeah.
Briefly add on some Diablo news for you.
Oh,
the new season. Still the season of the Malignant. Season features a new quest line. Sanctuary has been corrupted, overtaken with an infectious turmoil, creating abominations that roam freely. But who is to blame for this new wave of corruption? Partner with a former priest of the Cathedral of Light, to discover the source and stop the spread of the Malignant at all costs. So a new story.
Oh, nice. I did not expect that, honestly. That is cool.
Yeah. Even more. A new power. Defeat these powerful, corrupted enemies to harness their malignant hearts, with over 30 new malignant powers to wield. The might of the Malignants is yours for the taking.
So powers and like new skills, or or new aspects, or what is it?
New skills, new powers to go alongside what you've already got.
They have an addition to the skill tree, branching out. Jeez.
New boss battle. Scour the malignant tunnels to search for the catalyst of corruption. Make your stand against Farshan the Consumed and uncover the secrets of the Malignant. And new gear, with 6 new unique items to discover and 7 new legendary aspects to earn along the season's journey. There are more powerful options to harness for every class. Plus, earn free rewards for the part of the season pass. Season journey, season blessings, season titles, and clothing and weapon transmogs. And get more with premium. So when you've got the battle pass, you get warded Mustang mount, the Caledron
we do have the
mount.
battle pass, right? It was included in the Super Duper Ultra Special Golden Deluxe Edition.
Yes, exactly. But there's also an accelerated battle pass on top of that. So you've got the premium one, but then they've got one on top of that. I don't know what the benefit is of that, but yes.
Oh, nice, man. Dude, that sounds like they're really going out. Story content, I did not expect that. Honestly, in a season 1, I did not expect a new addition. Like adding actually skills to it. So that is a very nice touch. I cannot remember that we have had that in a Diablo game before, that they added like new skills. They had like, again, like kind of aspect things or stuff like that, but not like actual skills. Dude, that sounds fantastic. I cannot wait. Did they say, or do you
new
know?
boss battle. I literally just said this before they did the show.
New boss battle. We
got one.
That is cool, man. That is cool. Is there? Do you know any news about whether we can keep those skills beyond season 1, or are they just for the seasonal character?
It doesn't mention that on there. It just says acquire new skills. I would imagine you'd be able to keep them.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Usually, how seasons work, and that's the one thing that they have already announced about season 1 is seasonal characters. You lose your character, you start a new character, you lose it after the season ends. That's how it used to be in Diablo 3. Yeah, like at the very end, I had like, it was season 30 something when I dropped out of Diablo 3, they definitely had those, but then there were always like activities that you could only do with your seasonal character, and then there were activities that you could do with your global character as well. So and I usually played the seasons then only with my global character, because I don't like losing my stuff, you know. So but it sounds like there's a lot of content actually coming. Man, I have not even done all the dungeons yet. I have not even uncovered the entire map just yet. In Diablo 4, the most part of it, but not all.
I've discovered the vast majority. Yeah, but there's like little bits. It's like little
same here. You have like one little segment there or there. I got the vast majority now.
I think on like Saturday morning or something, I'll grab a coffee and I'll just go around with my horse and I'll just like ride around.
Yeah, that sounds smart. That sounds like a smart thing to do.
Uncover the rest. Yeah, I've done all the strongholds now. I might open up one of the map things and get all of the Lilith statues.
Yes, I want to do those as well. I need to do that, like take an hour or two and just run across the map and collect all the statues of Lilith.
So I'm going to do some of the basic stuff and then start mopping up the dungeons in each area one by one. Like all the little tiny
I'm not sure if I'm going to do that and just play Nightmare Dungeons after Nightmare Dungeon, and eventually you will have them all.
I was going to say I'm just going to do them anyway, because some of them are just tiny. Like you're not going to get. You won't have all of them for the Nightmare Dungeons, because some of the dungeons are just little dungeons that have got like one little corridor. Not all of them are fully fledged dungeons with aspects in. So you're never going to do all of the dungeons in Nightmare, because some of the dungeons aren't big. Yeah. They're like little one-room things. So I'm just going to go through, do all the dungeons that I can, even the ones without aspects. On normal, of course, when you're not doing them on Nightmare, it's going to be even quicker to get through them all.
Yeah.
So you quickly go through the dungeons, wipe them all out, area by area, just dominate an area and then move on to the next. And then focus on doing the Nightmare dungeons and grinding that way. So I think I might spend the morning getting the Lilith statues in the areas done on Saturday. That might be my bet.
Should do that as well. Just open a map and pop them up, because actually the boosts you get from those, they are quite good, man. Like two intelligence or so per statue, for instance. Also doesn't sound much, but if you add it up, there's really something coming together.
There's a lot of statues as well.
Yes, exactly. There are a lot. Ballantone in the chat says you should be able to keep them. You will get Paragon points and 8 skill points extra.
Nice.
20 Paragon points, he says, 8 skill points. Yeah. So we are back on Diablo again.
It happens, but this is what happens when they have an event. This is what happens when they have a live stream in the middle of a show.
Yeah.
We're going to get news and we're going to have to talk about it. So
And I love to talk
just
about
how it works.
It's just how it works. And like you said, we are the Diablo podcast now. So
yeah, exactly. Welcome to the world of Diablo.
Exactly. Man. By the way, I'm going to hit earlier. Today I only played 30 minutes or so of Diablo, and I was it felt like I only need to kill one more enemy, one little random dude, and then I would hit level 60, but I had to drop out. So I cannot wait till I hit level 60 and then actually get to upgrade my gems again. Because those gems, man. I love my gems. So moving on from Diablo once more. Until we have some more news. Or the urge to talk about it. Or actually play it. There have been some news on a potential PS5 Slim and of course the Pro. So according to some court documents from the FTC case, Sony will release a PS5 Slim hardware revision later this year, and most likely a Pro next year. So, yeah, how are we feeling about Slims, Pros? I mean, the Pro, we've talked about this before. Yeah, Tom Henderson, shout out to him, by the way. He leaked that, I want to say 3-4 months ago already. The PS5 Pro, no secret anymore. But how are we feeling about a Slim? Does it make sense in this day and age? What do you think?
I think for Sony it does. I don't think it does for Xbox.
I mean, the PS5 is gigantic. That is true. Yeah.
So yeah, for Sony it does, but it doesn't for Xbox. You can't. I mentioned this yesterday on my show, but of course for those on this one, I'll say it again. Naturally the Series S doesn't need to be any smaller. It's tiny as it is, so you don't need to slimify that.
Yeah.
And the Series X, the way the architecture is in that console with its split motherboard system and its titanium chassis, sorry, not titanium, aluminium chassis inside that surrounds the split motherboard, and the way they've got that assorted with the fan up top and the drive at one side and the heat element at the other side, and the way it's built. You can't slimify that. You would have to literally re-engineer the entire Xbox in order to make a slim version of the Series X. It wouldn't be a split motherboard anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
It would take too much time. And anybody who hasn't seen the interior of the Series X, like an actual full-on breakdown, go and have a look, and you'll understand what I'm saying about the Series X. You couldn't do a slimline version of the Series X without full re-engineering of it. So yeah, the series consoles will not get a slim. The PlayStation will and can easily get a slim version of it, and I do expect them to do it. They've done it for every generation that they've had, including the PlayStation 1. They had that tiny little rounded edged version of the PlayStation 1, if people can remember.
Yeah.
The tiny little thing. Then they did it for the PS2. They had the PS2 Slim, the PS3 Slim, the PS4 Slim. So naturally they're going to do a PS5 Slim, and of course this one warrants it more than any of the others, because this one's an absolute ginormous hunk of plastic. So yeah, I've got no doubt, and of course the benefits may slightly, because it means if a new PS5 Slim comes out, then the price of the regular PlayStation 5 will potentially decrease. And then I
wanted to ask you that. Do you think where will they price the Slim? Is it going to be still $550?
I think it'll be I think the Slim will potentially be on PS5 digital pricing.
Probably.
I could be wrong.
It could also be that the Slim is only a PS5 digital. Do you think it's going to have a disk drive?
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then it would be around 400.
They don't like stocking. I mean, especially in the UK, they do not like stocking the digital version of the console anyway. Like, if you find a PlayStation 5 over here, it's absolutely not digital.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the digital only PlayStation since launch.
I still believe that the existence of a PlayStation 5 digital is a myth. It's like a big, gigantic marketing gag. It's like
I've seen like 2 people with one, and I've never seen one in the UK. I'm like, who the fuck's got a PlayStation 5
no
digital?
one has them. No one. I wanted to get one. It was like they weren't even listed here on Amazon or anything. It's like not sold out, but not even listed. I don't believe in the existence of that thing.
No, not in the UK. They don't exist in the UK.
Yeah.
They're just the regular PlayStation 5s.
It's like so true. So I lost my train of thought. Obviously, that's why I'm stalling.
Slim consoles.
Slim consoles.
Like
Pros. Yeah, I wanted to briefly talk again about the potential of a Pro.
Yes. We have contrasting thoughts on this.
We probably do. So, would you care to elaborate what's more for our audience here?
Yes. So my thoughts on Pros are specifically that I do think there will potentially be Pro versions of these consoles. However, I think the timelines of the release of these Pro consoles have been pushed back due to where the console cycle has begun and what's happened at the beginning of this console cycle. If it wasn't for the delay on production of the games in the first place because of the pandemic, we've already seen Microsoft have the issue where last year they had nothing to show. This year they've only just started getting back into it, but the games that are releasing this year are games that were delayed from last year. So we're eventually getting Starfield. We eventually got Redfall, albeit being terrible technically. Of course, I know people still enjoyed that game, and more power to them.
That's cool. That's cool, man. I'm always happy when gamers enjoy the game. I did not enjoy it.
Even if technically it didn't perform well.
Yeah.
Forza Motorsport and Hi-Fi Rush, they've had a better innings this year, but a lot of those games came from what should have been released last year. So I'm not going to give them the round of applause yet. But it is a sign of where the generation has been at the beginning, which was we started off with cross-gen games, not current-gen games. The games that are current-gen have been pushed back because of development issues because of COVID, and it's pushed those timescales back by a year or 2 years. So a lot of these games are now pushed into 24, 25 and beyond for their release cycles. So we've had Xbox's low point. They're now on top of that low point, and they've got a release cycle or at least cadence now going into 24, 25 and beyond. We know the games that are lined up for next year and the year after and so on and so forth because we've seen them now. So we kind of have a good cadence. But PlayStation have now got into what Xbox did last year. And after Spider-Man, there's no big first-party games coming out next year. Outside of a games as a service. One
That's
games
true.
as a service.
No.
So they've got nothing. And because of that, and I always say the same, if you're going to be releasing hardware, specifically consoles, you'd be wanting to release that alongside some game.
Well, the Xbox has been doing it for a long time now. Yeah. They launched the One X without a game. They launched the Series X without games. So you can launch consoles.
In an ideal world, in an ideal world, though, especially if you want and we know what Sony are like because Sony launched their consoles with games and vice versa. They launch games with consoles as bundles. They launched a bundle for Spider-Man with the game. They launched a bundle for God of War with the game. They launched a bundle. So every time they release a game, they do it as a bundle. And I think they'll continue to do that. So when they do a Pro model, I think they'll release that with a game. But I also think, just based on what the delays we've had on the game development front, it's going to have an even more of a knockback for the actual technical development, because that's even more of a strenuous operation. You're talking about, okay, now we're looking at parts that were already strained in supply, and now we're looking at higher end parts or harder to produce parts. Now you're talking about things like chip thresholds, and the higher the kind of frequencies and things like that you need on these chips, the more of a failure that you're potentially going to have in production. So of course we saw that with what the Series X can do is, of course, okay, well, we only have X amount of CUs on the Series X chip, but if we have some failure in these chips, because of the CUs are far less on the Series S, we can actually recycle those chips, because if we've got failed CUs on some of them, they're actually still more than enough to be able to use these in the Series S and implement them that way. The PlayStation 5 doesn't have
We have
that
now.
issue.
I have to correct you here. This was a rumor that we've heard that for a long time. So that the if a binning, that's what it's called. If you produce as a SoC, you have like binnings. It's basically describes the quality, how many failures you have,
Yeah.
and that you can use the lower tier binnings by simply turning off the CUs. And it was confirmed actually by Jason Ronald like 2 years ago when the consoles came out, and everyone was talking about this, that this does not work. It's simply for the layout of the chip is a little different and everything, so you can't do it. So it's like a different
Okay, well, I missed that then.
Yeah.
I missed that. Originally that was essentially what they were saying. If he's come out and corrected that now, then that's fine. That's fine. But either way, it's easier to produce a chip with far less CUs. It's obviously much less strenuous on the chips themselves as well. It would be if you were releasing these high in these more powerful consoles. So there is more strain on the actual production value there on them, and how much those costings are. And again, then you have to have a look at the costings of production of higher end consoles as well, as you would do with higher end PCs. The costings for production, the costings for manufacturing, the costings for distribution, and everything that goes along with these parts. So you've got, and then there's the R&D behind it. Not only have you had the pushback in the development of games, but because you've had the pushback in the development of games, then the technology, these mid-gen refresh consoles, the pros, are now out of date. So then you're going to have to think about, okay, now we're going to have to push it back to get more up-to-date technology in these consoles. Because essentially what they could have done is they could have already preempted using Zen 3 in the refreshes. But then Zen 4's come out.
At least,
yeah.
Next year we have Zen 5 CPU, so at least have
No, what I'm saying is when they originally preempted this, so when they released the Series X and the PlayStation 5, Zen 2s, and then we've got Zen 3s coming out next. So what we'll do is we'll do the refresh consoles on Zen 3 and blah, blah, blah. And by the time they've had these delays and had these setbacks to development and COVID and things like that, Zen ready in. And then so they revised their plans again and then put that in. And then they've had updates on the MD architecture. Okay, so now we've got better APUs and better stuff like that. So now we push that back a little bit more. So I think the overall process of these refresh consoles has just been bumped up a year or so. So I think the actual console releases for these more powerful mid-gen refreshes will be a few years away yet. I don't think the PS5, if the PS5 Pro comes out next year and the Series X Pro comes out the year after, I think that's a major disadvantage for the PS5. Because the Xbox Series console is going to have more up-to-date technology, and it's just going to wipe the floor with it.
Just like they did last gen, right?
That's the problem, exactly. The PS4 Pro come out, and then the One X come out, and it destroyed it.
Yeah, exactly. Daunty J sends in a $2 super chat and correcting me, and he's right. Forza Motorsport has released with the Xbox One
Yes.
X. That is true.
Correct.
That's true. 2017, last Forza Motorsport. So yeah, I stand corrected. The One X did launch with at least one game. I actually, honestly, the One X to me felt like more like a generational leap than when we transitioned over from the 360 to the Xbox One generation. That was like just like people are complaining this time as well. Yeah, people felt like in the first 2 years, it's all cross-gen. It's like ugh, and I did when we transitioned over from. And I mean, in 2013, the 360 was like 8 years old, and it ran games like Skyrim at 3 FPS. Oh well, that was not the PlayStation, but you know what I mean.
Don't mention the word Skyrim because I've been debating on re-downloading that all week.
Do it.
No.
I've obviously I have to advertise. I have to mention that I have the airline because it costs so much, so I need to let people know. But I downloaded it actually on it. I was super pissed that it does not support Play Anywhere. And so I would have to start a new save file, and I was like,
"Oh no!
Do I want to do another full playthrough? I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
You're so unhappy about having.
No, I'm totally unhappy. It's like it's the worst thing to do. Yeah. No, absolutely. But yeah, to me, like the jump from 360 to Xbox One, it was cool to have a new console. It's always cool to have new hardware. It's always But it did. Like, up until The Witcher 3 came out, I felt like The Witcher 3 was the first true next-gen game for the Xbox One and PS4 generation. Because, like, every game we had before, we had cross-gen games all the time. Black Flag, came out. Forza Horizon came out on both. 3, if you remember.
I think for me, Rise was the one that stood out initially.
It did stand out. That's so true. But yeah, I was like, and when the One X came out, that console felt way more than a generational leap.
Yeah.
Because like playing, of course, suddenly in 4K, granted at 30 FPS most of the time, but it felt like
4K for specifically for Xbox only games, so the first party stuff, there was a lot of 4K 60 stuff in there.
Yes, and I remember my launch game there was Assassin's Creed Origins. I played that. That was my first game on the One X, and it was like my mind was blown. Dude, this game looked insanely good suddenly in crisp 4K, and I didn't have a gaming PC at the time when the One X came out, so I was not aware of the awesomeness that is 4K, and it is like that. And then a little later we played, of course, games like Red Dead 2, stunning, on that console, and even I remember because they were like heavily advertising the One X because of the lack of games.
We didn't even have HDR until the One X.
Yes, exactly, HDR. Then we had
just a major improvement. We were like,
Atmos, by the way, Dolby Atmos, also game changer. And then they heavily advertised the backward compatibility program at the time. If you remember that, they had like all these games get like anisotropic filtering 60 times, 32 times. It's like I replayed Halo 3, remembering that very vividly. Like I was like, Jesus, that's Halo 3. And I never had that feeling when the One X came out, the original Xbox One came out, going over from 360. Was cool to have new hardware, yes, cool, but like this, and for me that was the One X, and that's why I feel a little let down by this gen as well. I don't know how you feel about this, but we were like so hyped for the RDR1 2 and all the features, and now devs are using nothing of this. We've talked about it. It's probably they never will. It's simply too complicated to optimize with all these tools and everything, because all these games have to be able to run on PCs as well that don't support most of those technologies. Starfield is now one of the first games actually to demand an SSD. Like we just don't have it. That they use all these. The direct storage API has been used by 2 games, I think. It's Forspoken and Diablo 4 now. It's like get 2 games, have used the direct storage API. It's like, of course, and then we had like, yes, I know, pandemic and everything and chip shortage and blah blah blah. We have heard the stories 100 times, but to this day, have you really felt like we've made this generational leap in gaming? Like, there were really cool games we've played, no doubt. But which game like really felt to you like, okay, this is a generational leap? I do have the feeling that Starfield is gonna be that because of its sheer scope, maybe. So
I think Starfield will be the first one that's really going to be. Okay.
And now I'm telling you, and this is why I definitely think we will get them, and I definitely will want to buy one of those pro and enhanced consoles, because the point
we will
really
anyway, even if we don't
we'll get them anyway. I know we're so passionate about gaming, but my point is, see, developers started to work on this these new engines like Unreal 5. We have a new Cry engine coming. We have a new Frostbite engine coming. Developers have been using that. And we have always been saying like, oh, they haven't even used the tools in the consoles. It's not about the tools in the consoles. Because like, again, I don't expect them to use all the tools in the consoles per se, because they don't develop those games per se for one console anymore. They always develop it for like an entirety of ecosystems, like PCs, low minimum, high end PCs, everything, handhelds. And so we are not going to get that specialized thing. But technology obviously moves on. And those games are right now in development. The Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2 will come out and look beautiful at 30 FPS on the Series S at 1440p, like squeezing everything out of it. But dude, then the next gen console comes in. The mid-gen refresh console, I mean. In like 24, maybe 25. I don't know. But latest 25, I have no doubt. Latest 25, we will get a mid-gen refresh. And it comes in, and you will have that 1x effect. Because suddenly, those games will run properly with a proper AI upscaler. You will see them at 4K. It will actually the games will actually have stable 60 FPS and even more. They will have like these higher settings of these engines that are now being developed. Because yes, the Series X was a powerful console, but again, it takes time to develop games for it. And by the time those games come out, technology has moved on. So for 2 generations or so. Again, like we are in 24, we are 3 generations past the CPU generation that we have now in the Series X and S. We have Zen 2 CPUs, Zen 5 CPUs are on the horizon. It's like RDNA 4 is on the horizon. It's like, and then you will have this like, actually, okay, now we are arriving here. And it's not just because we suddenly have the new hardware. It's of course because software is also catching up. And having made the leap. And if this comes together, actually just get a little bit better hardware and have those new software meaning like Unreal Engine 5 games ready, this will be a stunning combination. And finally, you will have your actual next gen experience, which you didn't have so far, in my opinion. I don't know. How are you feeling about it? I need to stop talking, dude.
Yeah. I agree. We've said it for this entire gen so far anyway. There hasn't been anything truly current gen since the console's release. There's been some fantastic looking games like Forza Horizon 5 looked absolutely amazing, and it pushed that engine to what its true potential, which was phenomenal. But we also know that's the end of that engine, and that they have a new Forza Tech engine, that whatever Forza Horizon 6 will be. And I think that'll be the next big tech showcase for what an engine can do as well when Forza Horizon 6 comes out on that engine, because I've got no doubt that Playground will do a phenomenal job with that. But then we've got the likes of Forza Motorsport coming out. We've got Hellblade Senua's Saga 2. We've just got so many games, and Starfield's the start of them. So many games coming out that I think will start to showcase what this engine can do. But I think Starfield will be the first one, I think, for different reasons.
Yeah, it's not just about the visuals in that game.
Yeah.
It's like really the scope of it. Yeah.
Yeah. The only game I think that's showcased what is possible with technology up until this point has been Flight Sim.
Yep.
It's the only one that can't be done on a regular console. It just can't. It's just
yeah, it's true.
Far too technologically advanced to be like the fact that they got that running on this console in the first place anyway, to be honest, is no small feat.
So you're telling me that Redfall is not that true next-gen experience, because apparently it also cannot be done on last gen.
And also Flight Sim's only 30.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I do agree. That's a generational leap in gaming tech.
And technology,
absolutely.
Yeah. And that's the only one so far has been technologically a leap in what is possible on console, because up until the fact that they announced Flight Sim was coming to console in the first place was just like, how is that going to work? Like, Flight Sim has notoriously been a game that is really taxing on PCs, and it still is. Like, even when Flight Sim released on PC alongside console, it was like, even for like 3090s and things like that were really struggling to hit that 60 frames mark on PC. And they didn't do like all the tech deep dives and everything behind it, and they're just like, yeah, it's not because of the game, it's just the sheer volume of what's happening in the game that is why it's tough to get that game up to such a high mark. And I think it's similar. That's why I'm saying with Starfield, it's similar. You're going to get PCs that are going to run this at 60, but I do not think it's going to be as low end as people think it is to get that game running at 60 on PC. I think it's going to take a lot more than what the recommended settings suggest. I think the recommended, even, because that's, as you can imagine, Todd has always said 30, 30, 30, 30, 30. I think the recommended's based around this game playing at 30, not 60.
On PC?
So I think, yeah.
I don't think so.
No, I think it will, because he's not. I'm not saying that it's to get it running. He wants that game running and looking beautiful and running well.
Yeah, they're not going to lock a game
down.
I'm
not saying lock it. No, I'm not saying lock it. I said I think the recommended settings are based around 30 frames. It doesn't mean you can't hit 60, and it won't unlock the 60. I just think what he set the recommended at. Yeah, you see what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, now I get
what the recommended at is the game running at 30. I think the actual, what you would class is, what do you class the high settings, or think above that, the ultimate setting, whatever they usually put on there, is probably what you'd be looking at for a 60 frames mark. And I think it would be having to be kind of a lower end 30 series and no less to do that game at 60. I don't think, because if you have a look at the recommended, it's like a 20 series. A recommended, and even
the
then,
recommended
that's not...
specs. I can't remember from the top of my head. Was it like a 2070 or 2080?
I think it was a 2080.
2080.
It's a recommended. Yeah. And it sounds like nothing. It really sounds like nothing. But if you have a look at on PC, what the actual card, like the average card, is on PC. It's like a 1750
Yeah.
or 1650. Like, there's not many like people that still have adopted the 20 or 30 series cards, or 40 series for that matter. So as much as people are just like, yeah, I can play this game at 60, like me and you can.
Yeah.
There's a handful of people on Twitter that we know can, but is the wider market on PC? A lot of people are not going to be playing this game at 60 frames unless they've got that game cranked down lower settings, much lower settings. So I think it's going to be more taxing, much like Flight Sim is, and for different reasons. Flight Sim is really taxing because it's generating real world data, real world weather, real world air traffic,
Yeah.
all of the assets from the cloud as and when you're going through the world. Starfield's a bit different in that it's essentially generating these planets as you're getting to them. It's like, and everyone's planet's different.
And especially the lighting in Starfield
Yeah,
is
and then
with
it's the lighting aspect, and of
yeah.
course everything that's going on with it. And no one's worlds are the same, which means it's obviously everyone's generating the different. There's 1,000 planets, the sheer scale of the thing.
Mm.
So it's gonna be super taxing. So yeah, it's gonna be the after Flight Sim, it's gonna be the next one. That's gonna be the one that they're gonna be looking at, and it's gonna be really intriguing actually to see what the technical benchmarks are going to be like when it releases and when they do it for PC. I'm not bothered what the technical aspects are on console as long as it's doing its lock 30. I want to see what the actual technical benchmarks are on PC to be able to get that game running to a like for like visually at 60 frames to what it is on console.
And see, that's my point about this entire thing. It doesn't have to look visual. Don't have to have visual parity when you have a 60 FPS mode. You can turn down a little bit the level of detail. You can turn down a little bit the resolution. We now learned that it already is using heavily FSR, yeah, with the partnership.
Yes, yeah. FSR2, yeah.
So you can do all those things, and then you have, of course, the inferior looking version at 60. You can get it up to 60. You can do that on PC, and I don't see a reason why you should not give console gamers the same option. It's about options, man. They can have the default setting at the 30 FPS quality mode, like Todd Howard likes it, but why take away the option to console gamers when you have the option on PC? I don't get it.
Yeah, we've spoken about this.
We spoke about this.
And I think it's for me, I think primarily it comes down to the fact that they do not want this game to have any issues when it comes to the review.
Yeah, I think so too. That seriously, this is the one argument that I think I actually understand. That this is in this day and age, I don't like it. I don't like that fact, but I understand the train of thought if that's the case, because
you can't theoretically, these consoles being the x86, theoretically you could just have a 1080p mode with 60 frames on Series S and a 2K mode with 60 frames on Series X. Theoretically you could do that, but it doesn't mean it's going to be stable. And if it's not stable and you send it out into the hands of reviewers, it's going to get absolutely lambasted.
Yeah.
You do not need that. You don't. Not when you're trying to launch the first game that you've made in 25 years.
The thing. Yeah, and it's not just about the Bethesda or Bethesda Studios and Todd Howard himself, but it is about Xbox. This is now, they are part of Xbox now, and they represent Xbox, and the success of a Starfield will, if Starfield is successful, it will do good things for Xbox. But if it fails for some reason to deliver, the shitstorm will be upon Xbox as well, and so the matter of the fact is, in this day and age, if you don't have stable 60, you will get bad reviews, and the reviews will focus around the issues they find. It just is. It's with Xbox always a little bit different than with other publishers. Xbox gets it, we've said this for years. Sometimes simply bigger scrutiny, and people will look a little bit more in detail to find problems. But that's just the harsh reality, and Xbox knows it, and they do know it. And
at the end of the day, when you're looking at things like that, what Xbox would have also weighed up is, right, guys, what we ultimately want is the most stable, most polished version of this game to go out on the gates. If you've got ideas or plans to get a 60 frames version of it, how realistic is that to be ready and stable for launch? And if it isn't, then let's just not even speak about it. Right now. We'll make sure that 30 frames mode is absolutely the best it can be, the most stable experience, the best it can be for launch, so it can go out and be reviewed in the manner that it should be, and that is for the content of the game and the quality of that content. And then afterwards, in a post-patch, you go, okay, like a month later, 60 frames mode, like it's
there you go.
Reduced to 2K 60, even on dynamic res, so it's showing 2K, but it's actually 1080p, and on Series S it's 720, but it's actually 1080p, or you know what I mean, and then bring those things out later, and at that point, it's more of a right. Okay, now we're trialing this, and they can get away with doing that and trying to get a stable thing on as it goes, and people are not going to be as bothered because they've already got a stable working 30 frames mode that isn't going to get broken. And on the back end, they're testing this 60 frames mode that can be patched over time and get better and get more stable with fan feedback. But they cannot. And this is more for Xbox as well as Bethesda, because Bethesda have launched buggy games and they've gotten away with it. Even Fallout 76 in the long run has gotten away with it, despite being one of the most buggy games in the world. But Xbox don't. And never have.
That's
when an Xbox game releases buggy and broken, it is done. It is literally lambasted for months on end, and it's paraded around like it's like the end of the world. And they can no longer afford that to continue to happen. They've already had it happen once this year with Redfall.
They cannot
they
have
it happen a second time.
And I do get that argument, that this could be an argument why you remove a 60 FPS mode from consoles.
I fully think they are working on a 60 frames or have a 60 frames there, but it isn't stable. And I think Todd's alluded to that even with the Series X.
Yeah.
He said they've hit 60 a lot of the time. That's not a stable 60 frames mode. So if it's not ready, you can't ship it. You can't. And ultimately, the one saving factor about Starfield, as much as people love the smooth 60 frames experience, is that because it isn't solely focused on first-person shooter, it isn't solely focused on that. It's more exploration. It's more adventure. You can kind of get away with that 30 frames much more than you can the likes of a Redfall, which is action-orientated.
Yeah. Well, the action scenes are shooting. We've seen it. We've seen the gameplay. I know that there will be a lot of space battle, but that will be also action focused. Then there will be, of course, exploring.
And again, it
resources.
Depends on what it depends, because what we've seen in these things is these nice, like, bite-sized chunks that have been blended in together to show, okay, here's a bit of combat and here's a bit of exploration. But what we haven't seen is, okay, so what's the actual time frame in between combat?
Yes, exactly. But I do get your train of thought. I still feel like combat's gonna be like it's a shooter. Yeah,
it is. The saving grace around it, again, that helps, is that they do have differentiating camera views. They do have FOV sliders and everything in the game from the off. And what people do know and should know by now is, of course, especially when you're doing first-person mode, is increasing that FOV slider to quite a wide 100, 120 is going to make that experience feel a lot smoother and a lot quicker anyway off the mark. So even if you're at 30, it's going to make it feel a bit better. Obviously, we'd all love it at 60 frames, but my championing here is mainly for, if it isn't working and it isn't stable and ready, then don't do it until it is. If you've got something that is absolutely stable, then focus on releasing that. Have it critiqued for what it should be critiqued for, and that is the quality of the actual game and the story and everything and the content that's within it. And then afterwards, you can go, yeah, we've got a 60 frames in the pipeline, and when it's ready to and stable, we'll push it out and we'll go from there. But I think ultimately they just can't afford. I think more on Xbox than Bethesda. They can't afford to have a game releasing with a bad state in there. So that's, you're muted.
Oh, pardon me. I agree. There is a lot of pressure on Starfield, no doubt. And whatever goes wrong with Starfield will fall back.
But I think I don't even think that pressure's on Bethesda. I think the pressure is literally just Xbox. I don't think the pressure. I think if Starfield, if Bethesda wasn't part of Xbox and Starfield released by itself, they wouldn't have the same pressure. And I think even Xbox have alluded to that. These studios have never had the pressure of being under a first party.
Yeah.
And now they have. They know it's a different thing entirely. It's a whole different way.
It is. I still have the feeling that with Starfield, we're gonna get a masterpiece.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, God, I'm gonna lose so many hours just building a ship. I already know this. Like, I'm just already picturing how I'm right. Okay, so how am I gonna do this, and where am I gonna get me parts, and like I'm gonna spend so many hours at the beginning of this game. As soon
Character
as I get my ship
creation
going,
it's gonna take me way too long. So it's going to be a massive time sink. But we've talked about this already today. So let's move on to the community questions.
Let's do it.
The first comes in from Waller Weasel. And he says, did the mailman know that you were streaming when he handed you the mail through the window?
That yesterday.
That was yesterday. Yeah, I was on your channel, and well, like literally next to this desk right here, I have a little window, and besides the window is a wall, and then we have the main house door. So the mailman really walks past this window to our main door, and like when I have the window open, and I have it usually open when I podcast these days because it's just too hot with the PC on and having like 30 plus degrees outside. So he walked by, handed me, and it was like I had to stop real quick podcasting and getting the package, and they were all the guys were all laughing, and so no, I don't think he knew that I was streaming. Waller Weasel, I don't think so. I don't think so. Jonathan Smith writes in and he says, "Hey guys, do you think it would be best for Microsoft to prove it can properly manage all of their studios upon the ABK acquisition before thinking about buying anything else?"
No.
I'll let you take
what I
this
do
first.
think. Yeah, what I do think though is that they won't look at other publishers for a little bit. They'll have them in the background. They'll be doing their research on publishers and things like that. But I think they'll focus on little more studio acquisitions before they look at another publisher again. And when you've got littler studios like 10, 20 heads and things like that, it's much easier to manage those. You're kind of just saying, okay, so you're safe now, you're financially good, you can crack on with whatever you're doing. You don't have that stress anymore. You can just create your project, have fun. They're much easier to manage because they're just doing what they do anyway. Indie studios are very self-sufficient. They get on doing what they do. Their main stress for any indie studio is the financial aspect. You remove that financial stress from an indie studio and just let them fly. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. And then just say, listen, guys, we've got so many tools here. Like, we've got the guys that work, and we've got the coalition who are masters at Unreal. We've got this studio who's the masters at this. We've got these cloud tech engineers. We've got so many guys across the board that can assist you. If you need any help, just drop us a message, say what kind of help you need or what kind of expertise you need, and we'll kind of hook you up with the correct contacts at these guys, and we'll make sure you get them on board and start collaborating with you. But other than that, a lot of these kind of 10, 20, 30 people studios that are already self-sufficient and just have the concern of finances, they're the ones you need to be targeting, I think, for the next acquisitions, and I think there will be. I think that's what they're going to be doing next. They'll get a few more, okay, so what gaps do we have in our portfolio? Right, let's fill that one, let's fill that one. I think that's the kind of stuff we'll see next.
I do agree with that. I also think, like, the bigger publishers, they don't want to get through another investigation in the next year or two after the ABK
acquisition. Drained a lot of their resources.
Yeah,
and I don't mean financial. I mean actual day-to-day running of everything.
Yes.
It took a lot of time.
You can tell they've been distracted, man. It simply is a matter of the fact that the top executives are also humans. Like a Phil, like a Sarah Bond, like a Matt Booty, they are all humans, and they only has the same hours as ours. And at the very end, this deal and this scrutiny and dealing with all the regulators takes up a lot of time that they could not spend working on the actual brand. And I think, to your point, Jonathan Smith, that's the thing where Xbox definitely needs to prove themselves. They haven't been doing well with the big Xbox portfolio roster of studios. They just haven't. Yeah, look at this gen. We have had, in 2.5 years, we had Forza Horizon, we had Halo, and Redfall.
Yeah,
so far. So obviously they have a lot of things to prove. The outlook is still absolutely amazing, no doubt. If you think about what's coming, that the showcase was amazing, the future looks bright, but at the very end, like Phil himself said, it doesn't matter before you have the game in your hand, playing it and smiling. That's the harsh reality. And that's what I also said to you, Dutch, when, are we excited for 24? Cautiously optimistic for it.
Exactly.
Because at the very end, they've announced 2 games for 24. Yeah, that's Hellblade and Avowed. And given their track record, they both get delayed. That's just a...
And Towerborn.
Yeah, okay. In terms of the games we actually want.
24.
So... Yeah, if Towerborn is the Pentiment of 24.
Hey, Flight Sim 24 is going to be cool though.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
Career.
Yeah, so
it's a good actual career. Makes a change.
And I'm obviously I feel like a Hellblade is gonna make it. I'm not sure about Avowed. Honestly, after maybe Avowed would have been able to make it, but I don't know. The reception of Avowed was not good. For some reason, I loved what I've seen. I loved exactly what I've seen. And so I like that it's not a copy-paste of Skyrim. I like that it's a little bit more colorful. It's an Obsidian game. It's not a Bethesda game. I love that. I loved it.
I was going to say, we also saw what 1 year does to Starfield.
Yes.
The last year of polish for Avowed is going to be exactly the same. And the developer that was making the comments as well did state that he isn't working on that title now. He's not at the studio. He worked on it. He said up until the point that I left, it wasn't in the alpha/beta.
Yeah.
But he's not there now, so he doesn't know where its position is currently. But he was defending it. He was like, listen, guys, this isn't the finished article.
No.
When it goes through its next stages of polish, then
absolutely. And the question is now, how much polish will it get? Yeah. Will it
actually... a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I meant. Yeah, you don't know if it's gonna make it actually 24.
I think it will. Obsidian's. This is the thing that.
Yeah, it's Obsidian. They are the Insomniac of Microsoft. Really reliable, well-oiled machine. They know what they're doing.
If you told me it was State of Decay that was meant to be releasing next year, not Obsidian's game, I would be like.
Yeah,
I don't know, but Obsidian, it's a trustworthy studio. I'm like, I can very well believe that they're going to do a fantastic job in that game release next year. Hellblade, I think the same. It's just, I think for us, it's which one releases first, which one are we getting them where, and we don't know. It's hard to tell now. It's hard to tell. Originally, when I seen Obsidian's game, I thought that looks really close, and then people were like, "Oh, it doesn't look great." I'm like, "It looked fantastic." I don't know what you're talking about.
I do agree, but you know how it is, and Xbox wants this to be a big thing. They want Avowed to be. Let me tell you one thing. I feel, and this might sound stupid to you, but the pure fact that they changed the logo to a comic font, like, did not do them a favor. The original logo was dark and gritty, and then they changed it to this like comic-looking logo of Avowed. They did not do themselves a favor with
the bright blue. The
bright blue and like the rounded corners, bubble-like look. It's like, and I feel like it could be. I don't want it. I want the game like Obsidian wants it, but it is the harsh reality is these days. If you get these kind of receptions, you go back and say, okay, what could we do if we just delay the game for another year or so and bring it out in 25, and then people will actually enjoy it more. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm not sure. I trust Obsidian. I do. I really do. Again, I feel like they are the powerhouse of Xbox Studios. Yeah, like this exact thing. And like Ballantone in the chat says, let Obsidian be Obsidian. Exactly. That's what we want. But you never know. That the pressure is there. Yeah. And the same you can say the same about, of course, Ninja Theory. I have zero doubt that they will deliver an incredible experience. But Hellblade 2 is super ambitious, and they've never done such an ambitious game. Yeah, that's just also the fact. Yeah, it's new for them. It's also new for the studio head to not manage a team of 20 people, but 100 plus people. That's like a different caliber now. Yeah, so you don't know. They target 24 now. Yeah, but the one thing that Xbox has been very consistent with is being inconsistent, and so in their game releases, and so who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Xbox, yeah. So, Ninja Scroll, with Microsoft taking the ban of hiring new employees, do you see 343 having an influx of devs ready for Unreal 5 Switch, the potential Battle Royale, the follow-up to Infinite, and offshoot Halo games? Want me to read it again?
Yeah, they don't have a ban on employing anybody. They're still hiring.
No, they don't. I don't think so. They had the layoffs in the studio, and you don't lay off people and then hire new ones the month after. 343.
Is he talking about? Oh, I thought you just sorry. The question would mention just Microsoft in general. I was like, what?
Yeah, no. I was like, no. I think 343.
Just 343. Yeah. Well, they've already mentioned anyway that that's going on a bit of a hiatus, and it is certain. Is it Certain Affinity that's doing the Battle Royale? So they don't control Certain Affinity. That's up to them. Whatever they do.
I think it was Certain Affinity. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're kind of taking the control over that anyway. So I don't mind Halo going on a bit of hiatus anyway, as long as they continue to provide content for those people that are playing Halo Infinite's multiplayer. That's all they can do right now. I think as long as they service that content correctly over the next couple of years, and to make sure that the seasons are substantial and bring enough content to people that continue to play it, that's fine. I won't be returning to it. I've got no need to. Unfortunately, that game had its opportunity to keep me on it, and it did not keep me there. And now the time has passed, and there's other things out, and I will not be going back to it.
Yeah, same. And that's what I remember that when Halo came out, that's what we said on your show so many times. Yeah. It's the problem is once people are out, they're out. There are always like the diehards that you can bring back, but the vast majority is out. And unfortunately, I'm one of those guys. when I'm out of a game, it's really, really hard to bring me back.
Yeah.
You gotta be a Witcher or like a, I don't know, Skyrim or something, or even a Diablo. But only few games can do that. So yeah, the future of 343, I don't know. I think we won't see actually Halo for a while. I feel like literally like 2-3 years we will definitely not see anything from Halo. Maybe in 26 again. I don't know. Or even later.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that as well.
Yeah. All right, but Dutch, with that, let's wrap this show up. We are running 2 hours and 40 minutes already. But it's been a blast, man, as always. So yeah, let me thank you everyone who watched today's episode live here with us. Of course, big shout out to everyone who listens after the fact. If you made it till the end, of course. So thank you wherever you're listening. On your way out, we would definitely appreciate you guys hitting the like button, considering subscribing if you're new. We would definitely appreciate that. Or leave us a follow on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you're listening. Would be really cool. But Dutch, let people know what you've coming up, man.
Yeah, so of course we just celebrated 3 years of the Midweek Mix-Up
Yes,
podcast.
we did. Yeah.
Which has been awesome, and just hit 2K subscribers as well on YouTube. So massive shout out to all new subs.
Big
and everybody that's
congrats, by the
supported it.
way. That's huge.
Thank you.
2K.
Eventually, it is much harder, especially and obviously we've mentioned this a lot through the years. Just being primarily focused on podcasting, with the occasional live stream, but primarily starting off as a podcasting channel. It's super difficult to grow just on podcasts.
It is absolutely significantly harder.
Yeah, if you're not doing anything else in between that, and of course we've tried to kind of change it up, and I do game live streams and things now as well, but the vast majority of our time has been podcasts. So it's super difficult. So to see us get to that 2K mark and hopefully push on from there and look to get the 3K next year and so on and so forth, and hopefully just kind of barrel rolls a little bit more after that. But yeah, it's been an awesome ride. So yeah, we'll be continuing. I'll probably do some form of game streaming over the weekend when I'm chilling out. Probably do again. We'll be back to podcasting next week again with the midweek mix up. But I'm also just looking forward to next month when we're at Gamescom, and I'm going to be doing some different kind of content at Gamescom. We're going to get some live stuff going. We're doing a little bit of vlogging and stuff. It's going to be good.
We're going to be sitting in one of our hotel rooms and do a live podcast in the same room.
Yeah.
From Gamescom. I cannot wait.
Going to bring the equipment. Going to get this thing off here, and I'm just going to put it on a table and
like going to take this mic with me.
Yeah. It's going to be good fun. So there's going to be some cool content coming over the next couple of months. It's going to be awesome. Especially, like you say, we're going to be doing this stuff live. So we're going to have me, Boxy, Mick, Gaz.
Again, I'm still scared of that dude.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be fun. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be some good stuff coming up. But thanks to everybody. Thanks to all the support that's at this channel with us as well on the World of Gaming, and look forward to seeing everybody again next week.
Absolutely. And hopefully next week we will have a returning guest. Not 100% sure yet, but next week we will be back with the World of Gaming like every Thursday. But yeah, for now, again, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who tuned in. A big thank you for the super chats that came in. Really does help a lot. It means a lot that you guys consider supporting us. Big shout out, of course, to the channel members. Some of them have been here for more than 2 years now supporting, which is simply outstanding. So super appreciate you guys. But again, we are not here for the money. We are here for the fun. And so thanks for everyone who tunes in. and lending us your or giving us your time, Dutch. I think this is like the biggest compliment you guys can do us. Just give us the time, because time is precious, man, and for people to
like hours on end every week, just sitting
Yes.
listening to us talk about games. So
it's outstanding. So appreciate you guys. And yeah, we will be back next week. And up until then, oh, by the way, over the weekend, if you see us online playing Diablo, hit us up. We usually love to team up. Yeah.
It's just a damn shame that Diablo can't have more than 4 people in a party.
Yes, man. I was like, the other day I saw you guys online. Remember, you were like, I think with Champ and a couple of other guys in a party, and I was like, yeah, it's great you're having fun, but I can't join, so I just dropped out.
Yeah. It needs to increase that, even if to increase it to 6.
Yeah, man, they need raids or something, yeah, where you have to can team up with like 10, 12 people and just go nuts.
But even if you're doing like, even if it's like, specifically for dungeons, you can only have 4 or 6 people, but on the outer world for exploring the above land stuff, like strongholds and stuff, that should be like, take a team of 8 with you, whatever. Like, that shouldn't have a limit on 4. I think that should increase that.
I agree. Hey, you never know. Blizzard treats their games well after launch, like for years and years out. So you never know. And I would be like really surprised if they don't have like something like raids coming somewhere down the line.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right. We're back on Diablo again.
It happens.
It just happens, man. But yeah, again, thanks for tuning in. You guys have an awesome rest of the week and an awesome weekend. And we see you guys next week. And don't forget to game on.